This is going to be a departure from the normal One Thought at a Time podcast. I am sat here across the table from a gentleman who you will have met before, actually on episode 31 of the podcast. So we're here in the beautiful and sunny today city of London. I've been recording a number of podcasts today. And I did mention on an earlier reel that there was something exciting brewing in the space of One Thought at a Time. So this is it. This is the time. Sat opposite me is Ant Sahota.
Hello, Ian.
Hello, Ant.
I'm back.
And the announcement is that after our conversation last time, we decided that it was time to do something in collaboration, right?
Absolutely. Something fresh, something new.
Yes.
I think, and exciting.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what we're doing today, and we'll have a bit of a chat to explain a bit more to you what's going on here. I'm delighted to announce that Ant is going to join me on One Thought at a Time to co-host it. So there are going to be some times when it will be me interviewing. There'll be times when it's Ant and I interviewing. There'll be times when Ant's going to have this side of the table to himself as well. And all sorts of other exciting stuff coming over the coming months from One Thought at a Time. So there we go. So, Ant,
Ian,
we're here. We're doing it. This is it.
What an amazing beginning. So,
yeah.
It's been fantastic so far. And I'm really excited for what we've got, what we've got to come.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
really
some great interviews today. No mentioning no names, no
spoilers.
No spoilers here.
No spoilers, but today's been amazing.
Yes.
Our guests they had so much to tell, really, didn't they? So,
yeah. I just thought it was probably opportune. Let's just remind people why did I start One Thought at a Time? Why is it called One Thought at a Time? Something that you and I have talked about quite a lot. I think where we have sort of a common interest here is this thing we have up here in our head is dangerous in the wrong hands.
Very much, yeah.
And all I've sought to do through this podcast is to hear people's stories. Everyone's got a story to tell. I mean, today, no exception.
Yeah.
And if one person listening to one episode of our podcast can just think, maybe I could do that, then I'm happy.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I think that's where we both are.
Well, ideally, that's sort of how this whole thing this whole fire between us sort of happened, this collaboration, because the first time I met you, I was personally going through a very tough time just the day before I met you, and I didn't want to turn up to the event that I saw you at.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be personable. I didn't want to go outside the house, and I put my feet on the ground, and I got out the house, and I had a conversation with you, and you opened my mind to the tree.
Yeah.
And it just gave me a lease. It gave me a purpose. It gave me a reasoning to pick myself back up and be on the right side of the tree.
Yeah.
And for me, I think it's so important that others hear that message as well. And knowing my journey, I know that journey does connect with a lot of people, and yours as well. It's very important that we have a discussion, and we've got the access to the platforms to do that. So we have to. So there's no reason for us not to be together talking about what we have to do.
Exactly.
And yeah, I think it's great to share it.
And I think for me, it's how do we reach more and more people? Because, I mean, you mentioned the tree, and some people will be thinking, well, they're talking about trees.
What's the tree?
This isn't a gardening program. But obviously something which we will talk about a lot, and maybe there'll be a future podcast on this, is about, the things that we think about, the thoughts we have in ourself.
Yeah.
Become things. They become the things that we do and that we are. And as if we can, I think the biggest thing I discovered probably 18 years ago now is the wake-up call that we're actually in control of what we think about. And it's like, whoa.
Yes.
And it's just that mechanism. And if we can just help people understand that mechanism through stories, then
through life experiences,
yeah.
And actually, it's one of the things that we were speaking about earlier is people don't get taught these things at school.
No.
People just, you don't get taught how to deal with stress, how to deal with anxiety. You don't get taught how to deal with mental health problems, or even identifying those problems.
Yeah.
And there's so many different aspects to that humans go through day in and day out. It's very important for us to at least discuss those topics and talk about the mental fitness side to what makes us tick, because physical performance is the big right now, isn't it? Everyone's talking about going to the gym and, you know, being fit, but no one really talks about the ways to improve the mental fitness side.
Yeah, and
there's
there's so much great stuff out there, you know,
Yeah.
the positive psychology, mindfulness, meditation, NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, all those. There's so much out there, and I think when you've been through some stuff in your life, you know, as I think probably everyone has, but I think where I am on this is there's no one version of the truth out there. So go and try everything and find the bits that work for you. Life is not all, to use a phrase, right tree. It's
No.
not all, yay,
No,
just
exactly.
go do it. We all have tough times, but if we can get good at being mentally fit and heading off some of these things that are going to be thrown at us, rather than trying to fix them in the moment.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was my nan probably said many years ago that prevention's better than cure, and
Yeah.
you know, she's probably right.
Absolutely right. I mean, it's identifying when things are going a certain way and being able to consciously act upon those things to give you a better way out. You
Yeah.
know, and you know, these days life moves so fast. You know, we're in 2023, and every second, every minute just feels like it's zooming by.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of time in our lives that we get to stop and just think about ourselves. You know, everybody that I speak to is like, oh, life's going so fast, or oh, this is happening and that's happening. But no one, you know, it's what's really exciting about this podcast is that it comes from a different angle, in the fact that it brings like-minded people together, and I think for a good purpose. You know,
And for me, what I hope with this is that we get, by people telling their stories and some other stuff I'm sure we'll do over the coming months as well, is I never want to be, I've never liked people to sort of preach down the camera at me, you know, you must do this.
yes, yeah,
But I'm internally curious about people's conversations and people's stories. I think we learn by storytelling. And in fact, there's a phraseology, and we've spoken about this, which is kind of the reason behind this as well. There isn't one kitchen utensil that you can use to prepare every dish.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist.
no,
If you've got a problem with your car, there isn't one tool in the toolbox that fixes it. Physical training, you know,
Yeah.
which, you know, something very close to you as well, and I run. I know there is not one exercise that can keep you completely physically fit.
No way.
So why would we expect there's only ever one thing and one way of keeping us mentally fit?
Exactly,
So
yeah.
I think we should open every door, look through every window in this space,
Yeah.
hear people's stories and see what we can do with it.
Absolutely, and I think more the merrier. You know, we the whole idea about this is we want to tap into people's thoughts, tap into people, their journey and their stories, and to see how things relate. And I think the really important factor there is that about the tool set. You know, it's like we want to explore that boundary and see the exciting fact of knowing, you know, what is the right or wrong way to do things, and what's the way to explore and understand those boundaries, and to find what that will help us. So it's really exciting, and I can't really wait to kick things off properly, you know, and get some more guests on the show, and things to keep going forward. So,
and I guess the one other thing which we probably should say as well, you know, we talk about great stories. You know, there's people, you know, give their thoughts and tips, and we'll have ideas, as we have done over sort of previous episodes, of things to try. Mental health issues are, you know, if you are deep in depression or anxiety, it would be naive and foolish of us to think that you can just think positively about something and all your problems go away.
Yeah.
That's really not what this is about.
No.
But it is about just trying to shine a little bit of a spotlight on some of the journeys, the positives and the negatives that people have actually experienced, and just try and draw something out of it that we can all learn from.
Take from. Yeah. And that is so true, isn't it? That
Yeah.
there isn't any right or wrong way of dealing with something. And yeah, it is it is exploring those boundaries and just plucking what we think are the right ingredients for allow us to use the tools to move forward. And I think that's the really exciting thing, is like there isn't any right or wrong answer, but we want to explore. Like we're explorers, me and you, Ian.
We're explorers,
we're
yes.
explorers. And yeah, it's just super exciting.
Yeah,
Really.
and helping to make the world a better place.
One
thought at a
time.
So we look forward to seeing you in some future episodes. And you know what? If there's something that you would like Ant and I to be talking about in future episodes, let us know.
Yeah, drop us a comment, subscribe, and remember, like, every little helps, because any subscriber, or as the channel grows, we can improve what we do with the channel. We can also expand the channel, and it gives us greater opportunities to share some more knowledge and get some amazing guests on the show. So please make sure you support us by subscribing, because if you do that, we can give you a better show.
And with that, let's get on with the other recording. We've got some more guests to interview.
Let's do it.
Great stuff.
All right.
Cheers. See you, everybody.
See you later.